All right, so I want to talk about croble MMA. So croble came from square bowl. So square bowl is in reference to karate combat, square bowl karate, because that's what it is. A square bowl, right, is how people see that. And so that became what is called croble. So croble is a place where they push all rule sets. So one of the main contests for croble, standard MMA rules as far as what's allowed in the cage, but it's 2 10-minute rounds with 1 5-minute overtime. And so with croble, it's always a raffle as far as matchups within a weight class. So 10 guys go to some place, and then they do a raffle the day of the weigh-in on who's going to fight who. Croble MMA, right? Scary thing. A lot of guys in the UFC aren't going to go for croble, but there's going to be plenty of other guys who go for croble. Croble also does 1 10-minute round. They mix up what they do in different contests, but they're all considered pro MMA, right? But they have different time limits and things like that, and you're likely to see the new glove advances find themselves quickly in croble, the new gloves that they're making, croble, and this came from crow and bull, crowbull, because that's what fighters do, is they crow and they bull, right? You mix those together, you get noble and crow mixed, you get croble, croble, croble sports. And so like I said, when you go to croble, you do your training camp not knowing who your opponent is, and then you show up, and on the day of weigh-in they face you off with who they do like a draw. They pull names out of a hat, or one of those roll cage thingies for the little company raffles, right? And then they tell you who you're going to fight, right? So if Mason Jones and Slava both went, to croble in August, and it was like 12 guys or whatever, and then their teammates who drew to fight each other, and then they said, yeah, that's fair. We're gonna scrap. You know what I'm saying? In ludus competitions, friendly rivalries within such a gnarly sport in MMA, right? But that's where we're at, is croble, which came from square bowl, and now the cage is something that's been thought about a lot. So it's going to be a larger cage, greater distance, right? Slightly larger than a UFC octagon, right? Some people are going to say, I don't like that. Of course, the guys who are in charge of ugly fucking corruption ain't going to like that, right? But I dig on croble MMA. I'm not a huge MMA guy anymore, but I thought croble would be something to spice things up in the sport. You know what I'm saying? Where it was, you show up, you do a full training camp, expected to compete one time. You're prepping to compete one time, and then when you get there is when you get your opponent.